Ken, I wonder if you could talk a bit about movement in meditating. Is it a good idea to move while you meditate or not?
Good question. There are all sorts of different schools of thought about this, and there are some schools of thought where we're encouraged to stay still no matter what. There are some schools that encourage movement. There are also meditations within schools, some of which are moving meditations, like walking around and meditating, or doing other things. Some people regard exercise programs like yoga as a form of meditation too, of course. But usually the question arises when people have gone to a particular meditation group and they're told to keep still, and that unless they keep still, they're not actually going to get the full benefit of the meditation, because there's the suggestion that they're going to be avoiding something that's going on the inside, and they're using the movement as a way of masking that. Now, we have a view that movement is good and being still is good. It depends on the circumstances. So, given that we've been teaching Westerners for many years, what has always been clear to us is that Westerners generally don't learn to sit cross-legged on cushions or on the floor or on anything really, and that it takes quite a while to do that. Also, the posture of people who live Western lifestyles is generally not a meditative type of posture where we're seeking to have a straight spine and a straight neck a lot of the time. So they tend to be like that, particularly if they've been working at computers for a while. So that's not all that useful to have that posture. But it means that if we expect people who haven't been sitting in a normal meditation posture to come in and adopt that and then sit there for 10 minutes even, or half an hour, or three-quarters of an hour, or heaven forbid from their point of view an hour, then their bodies can be screaming out for relief really quickly. And our experience of that is that it is best not to try and force people to do that, but to enable them to move into being able to adopt a meditative posture gradually as time passes. So in the beginning, what we may be hoping is that they're going to be able to sit relatively still for relatively long periods of time. But in terms of what is possible, we need to allow for the difficulty that arise when tendons are stretching and knee joints aren't used to being stressed the way they are, and the lower back isn't used to being slightly hollowed, and that the neck isn't used to being pulled back and the chin pulled down and that sort of thing, which can become very uncomfortable. So what we actually suggest for beginners is that they start their practice by moving when their body gets uncomfortable. Now we know in the long term that it's going to be useful for them to stay still, but that for some people could be years. And for those who it is going to be years, their meditations in our experience can be much more conducive to the awakening process if they do it gradually and take it easily. So a simple guideline is if you were sitting in front of the TV and feeling the way you're feeling while you're meditating, would you move or not? And if you'd move to make yourself more comfortable, then our suggestion is move. Having said that, there's a whole different answer for people who are getting much more advanced, and different guidelines that we would use for people who are capable of sitting for extended periods.
Mm-hmm.